Excelsior!
Welcome, everybody, to our latest look at the Marvel trading card set from 1990. This is the Laser Time group. I believe we've all introduced ourselves somewhere before.
Chris, Brett, Dave, Hedrick.
There you go.
This is going to be a weird one.
Yeah, this is going to be intentionally a little shorter because we've been going by sections, and we rounded out the superheroes. That took that took 4. We rounded out the villains. That took 3. Rookies, because Dave, you were saying... Well, we all kind of, I think, agreed, like, this being the first big Marvel trading card set, they were like, well, you got to emulate baseball cards.
Yep.
And what do they have? Stats? And you probably got to have rookies.
Yeah.
So this time we're looking at the rookies who were new in 1990, but as you'll find out, most of them aren't new.
New's a relative term.
There's no Ken Griffey Jr. in here.
Yeah, there's no Ken Griffey. But let's get into the rookies.
What?
Right off the top.
He's not even a rookie.
Right off the top is Ghost Rider, and this is Danny Ketch Ghost Rider, who was at the time new. Ghost Rider Volume 2, Number 1, launched in 1990, and I was into this comic very early on, probably by 91, I think. I think the first new issue I got was 12. So
what do they mean he's a rookie?
So Danny Ketch is the new Ghost Rider.
Oh, sorry, you did say that. Danny Ketch.
Johnny Blaze is the first one.
This was back when Marvel was trying to make Ketch happen.
They tried.
Yeah, they really tried. He still is around every now and then. But yeah, I believe it was that he, like Johnny Blaze became human again. He had finally gotten rid of the Spirit of Vengeance.
Yes, Zarathos was the demon that the Spirit of Vengeance, and Ghost Rider's powers is like he's basically indestructible. Not particularly great at fighting, but is like
6 battles fought, 4 wins, 2 losses.
Yeah, he doesn't win a lot because he just doesn't have a great fighting style, but he does have like basically indestructible. As you saw in the movies, I'm sure the motorcycle can drive up walls, and like his magic chain can like separate and come back to him. But
does Ketch not have the magic chain?
No, he does.
Okay.
It's got most of the stuff, I believe.
Yeah, but like his big thing for the Ketch version was the penance stare, which I don't even know if it mentions this on the thing, but I don't think it does. But it's the ability to grab someone, and as the Spirit of Vengeance, he can look in your soul and make you feel all the pain you've inflicted on others. Which is a really cool idea for a Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And I liked the kind of buddy cop style in Spirits of Vengeance they would have of Johnny Blaze, the human, with...
Well, so...
That's a couple years left.
Yeah, so Johnny Blaze comes back in like issue 14 or something when he realizes that Zarathos / Ghost Rider, the Spirit of Vengeance, is back at it. And since he already went through literal hell in the 70s, he's like... not again. And he realizes after he encounters him, Johnny Blaze gets new powers, like he has a Hellfire shotgun, and they end up finding out later down the line that they're related, and then Ghost Rider's story gets real dumb with the Midnight Suns, and then like it goes full 90s. And
well, he is easily the hottest new hero of 1990, and I, as a Mike Hagar fan, take offense to that.
They really shut their mouth with the first card saying it's the hottest one.
Well, no. All the cards will end. I know at least another one that ends with he's easily blank. Of
1990.
Hottest because of the fire.
It's the 90s.
I forgot he transformed by touching his motorcycle.
It's magical gas cap. I still feel like the first like 20 issues of Ghost Rider are really good. But yes, Deathlok,
star of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, against all odds, has been in S.H.I.E.L.D. for a while.
Deathlok is one of those low-level dudes that you can get permission to put on outfits. A TV show.
Yeah.
I loved it. Well, you talk about Deathlok.
I mean, I always viewed him as like a rip-off of RoboCop.
Yeah, I mean, he pretty much is. He's a walking corpse with guns, and he has like one arm that's kind of real, but mostly he's just a cyborg. And his existence taught me the difference between a cyborg and a robot back in '92. I got into him because they put him in Maximum Carnage. He was a big part of Maximum Carnage.
And check out his Did You Know?
Oh, yeah.
Deathlok never needs change to make a phone call. He can just shove his computerized finger in a phone jack and hook up to anywhere in the world.
I'm sure that's still useful.
56K, man.
The iPhone ruined his superpowers. Holy shit.
Yeah, but he had cool guns and stuff, too. We had lots of
what is going on with his gun? It does look automatic.
It's like a pistol that is connected into his body.
Yeah. No, because his toy was so cool. Because he had like the pistol with a tube connecting it to his backpack, so it was like laser guns, and you could pop up the top of his head to see his brain.
Yeah.
Man, his real name sounds like an alcoholic drink.
Michael Collins.
I'll get a Michael Collins, please.
Liam Neeson played him, didn't he?
But yeah, the fun that came, I think, I don't know if it was there from the beginning. beginning with Deathlok #1. But there was a fun back and forth between the cyborg is part of him and is like a separate consciousness. So there would be this back and forth between a human who remembers what it's like to be alive and this robot inside of him that is just super clinical and logical, and then this back and forth between them.
Yeah. And he's connected to Roxxon, which is Exxon in the Marvel Universe, the evil oil company that's connected to about 8 different villains.
Yeah.
That's how I think that it shows how little he's been around, that his main arch enemy is an entire corporation.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get many other enemies. The most recent time in comics I remember seeing Deathlok was in Jason Aaron's run on Wolverine. There is a potential future where Deathlocks have taken over the world, and one comes back in time.
Huh.
So did he keep up his undefeated streak? Right now he's 9-0.
Definitely not.
Certainly not. I mean, I know in Maximum Carnage beats the crap out of him.
Language,
It
Henry.
beat up everybody.
Yeah.
That story is the most gratuitous thing of all time.
Sure is.
1 second. Guardians
What?
of the
Whoa.
Galaxy. I'm sure
Everybody recognizes
Yeah.
the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, I
Wow.
recognize one of them is in the movie.
One of them, Dave, the
yes.
guy on the right, is a blue guy. Do you remember a blue guy in Guardians?
Was he in like a deleted scene or a
No,
post
he's
credits thing?
Kind of in a lot of it.
Remember when he whistled
right.
and the arrow flew
That would be
around?
Yondu, played by Michael Rooker in the
Oh yeah, he
movie.
totally looks just like him.
But
Well,
but look at it. You can see his
man.
original mohawk.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which is now filed down in the movie to a nice nub. But
No,
Yondu was a founding member of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
In the comics, Yondu is basically Space Hawkeye.
Yeah.
That's why they had to change him up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to give him just a magic arrow instead of a classic bow and arrow type deal. But the rest, I really
Who are
don't
these
know.
fucking losers?
So I recognize some of
scrubs?
these people show up again in the Abnett Landing mid 2000s Guardians of
way.
the Galaxy, like Starhawk.
Well, because
and
they're lost to time.
Charlie
Astro.
27, Martin
Yeah.
X, Major Vance Astro.
Ah, I do know that
Yondu,
one.
Starhawk, Nikki,
Yeah.
and Alita.
But I forgot that doesn't look like Major Vance Astro. He would look so different.
Yeah.
Like even
Which-
5 issues later.
Is that the Mike Hagar looking mofo?
No, it's the guy in the Iceman looking dude.
Yeah.
So.
None of them look original.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the extra interesting thing, and I bet because I think we might
can't
be
be
seeing
true.
Vance Astro in 2 of these cards, if I'm not mistaken. But
Ooh.
so Vance Astro will later in the Guardians of the Galaxy books, like in about a year, he will inherit Captain America's shield in the 30th century, and he leads the
Yeah.
team. And it is revealed that he is the same Vance Astro as Vance Astro Vic, Marvel Boy, a member of the New Warriors. At
Yeah,
the
we
time.
all just read the Do You Know.
And
Fucking A, man. Sorry. I was saying that without looking at it, people.
I was
Know
only
that,
bringing that up.
okay?
Speaking of which, the headquarters, the Starship Captain America 2.
Two.
Boy.
But yeah, they were definitely like it says 31st century, so they weren't even flying around in the same time period as the rest of the heroes.
No.
And to tie it back to Ghost Rider, I bought one Guardians of the Galaxy comic because it had Ghost Rider 2099 in it, and he's flying a space motorcycle.
Oh, that's awesome.
it's
Yeah,
really
I
ridiculous.
only bought one issue of it. It was they were fighting Wolverine Skeleton, and so it was a chrome cover of Adamantium Skeleton Wolverine on
Why
it.
is his skeleton alive?
Hey, that's
who cares?
I can't remember, but yeah, these characters appeared briefly in the Guardians of the Galaxy comics in the last 5 years.
They were never
I
popular.
think what's his name? The
Yes.
Captain America guy was in the one right before the movie reboot of the comic.
Yes, yeah,
Starhawk
he's-
and Astro and Yondu all kind of showed up.
But they're all lost to time because
Yeah.
the timeline no longer exists. It got deleted, and so when you see some of them, it's just because they're around. Also, I didn't say, but this is obviously Mark Bagley art.
Yeah, definitely. It's also funny that at this point, even though they're rookies, like characters like Star-Lord and Rocket Raccoon do exist already,
Yes.
but they are not part of this team.
No, they weren't Guardians until
And-
like mid 2000s.
And I mean, Drax was around, but yeah. Next team, the New Warriors.
there he is right there. Now, this is also Mark Bagley again, which fits because he was the series artist of the New Warriors from New Warriors #1 to New Warriors 25.
And of course,
where-
everybody. We don't need to. We don't Need to tell you this. You already know that the New Warriors consist of
I can
Night
name
Thrasher, Nova,
Yeah.
Namorita, Firestar, Marvel Boy, and Speedball.
Yeah, all these people.
Actually, no, I knew more of them than I thought.
From
I did.
left to right, it's Marvel Boy, Namorita, Kid Nova / Nova, Night Thrasher, Firestar, Speedball.
Half of those are drug slang.
So I can also tell you that like Marvel Boy existed before the comics, as did before New Warriors, as did Namorita and Kid Nova. They were both leftover 70s dudes. Speedball had just been created by Steve Ditko in an Amazing Spider-Man annual backup comic. It was his character for the 80s. Like Steve Ditko's like, I'll make a new Spider-Man for the 80s. He'll be this blonde kid who bounces off shit. Like,
what a fun idea.
I mean, Speedball jobs out to Spider-Man on a fairly regular basis.
usually
I feel like I've
does,
seen it in the
yeah.
last couple years.
And then there's Firestar, who had never existed before but was created for the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends TV series, and then got put in. She got Harley Quinned into the Marvel
she got
universe.
Quinned in before Quinn did.
And then,
oh, look at your trivia.
and then
Marvel Boy's older future self is Vance Astro.
Oh,
with Guardians of the Galaxy.
but then Night Thrasher was the only true
Yeah.
original for the book, who was created to basically be Urban Batman, who
Yeah.
was a rich black young man who had a cool skateboard and beat the
Therefore,
crap
must
out
have
of
his
people.
face kept from view.
Yeah.
On the only place I would have seen the New
Their
Warriors.
headquarters is the Ambrose Building, which I'm sure has Ambrose Asylum. I had to make a wrestling reference. I thought we would have Drax in the last one, but we didn't.
So that Ambrose building is where he lives with his own version of Alfred, who was actually an old Chinese woman who would later turn
Become
out
Twilda Swinton.
who would later turn out to be an evil woman who had been running his life behind the scenes the entire time.
Good.
And she had some mystical power. But anyway, I was the biggest New Warriors fan in the world.
I believe it.
I agree.
I love
I
them so
believe it.
much. It made me a Nova fan to this day. Like
Yeah.
the rest kind of suck, and they're the reason Civil War happened. And
Not this exact
Not
lineup,
the team.
though.
no, just Speedball and Namorita and a Night Thrasher, though not that
Not
Night
that one.
Thrasher.
Jesus Christ.
They were members of the New Warriors team that sparked Civil War by exploding Nitro.
16 years after this card.
16
Yeah.
years.
10 years ago.
And that's when
fucking old,
Speedball will blame himself for that death and then turn into Penance,
God
a man
damn it.
who stabs himself as to have new
he
superpowers.
changes his suit to be full of spikes and then wraps himself in it so that every time I take a step, one of these spikes cuts me and reminds me of the kid I killed. And it's like, that was Speedball, everyone.
Yep. That shows you where they went. Like
Yeah.
they're like, yeah. that
Each
it's-
one of these cuts is a child I murdered. Fucking come on. But I read number one, and it did introduce me to Nova, and Nova gets turned into cubes and smashed in Infinity Gauntlet.
Yep.
And that was how I knew him.
Though he is at a lower power level
Yeah.
in this first New Warriors. I believe New Warriors 15, where they fight Terrax, who comes back for the second time. They fought Terrax when they were formed as a unit, and then when
Yeah.
they fought Terrax the second time, he needs a big power up it, so he gets back his full Centurion powers, which allows him to go in outer space.
Yeah.
And that's when he fights alongside the Fantastic Four to defeat Terrax.
Got it. Hold. Slight change. And now it's time for the big N on his belt.
the hell
the
are you?
Nomad.
Dude,
Sega
look-
Nomad.
It's Buddy Cole, ladies and gentlemen, with right down to the see-through, the fucking boob windows on this
yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
I love that how little text there is because they're even like, yeah, I don't know what do you want?
You tell us what you want from Nomad. Nomad received his physical training and learned his fighting skills from a good as teacher as anyone, Captain America.
Yes.
Jack Monroe.
Jack Monroe, yeah, that he's dead. I believe he got killed in Captain America 7 when it was the background of the Winter Soldier.
Yep, he ended up being killed by Winter Soldier.
Yeah, well, because Jack Monroe is one of like 3 attempted Bucky's after Bucky was dead. And though Nomad was the name when Captain America became disillusioned with America after the Nixon administration,
That'll happen.
he briefly became Nomad, a guy with a terrible costume, slightly better than this one. This is the 90s version of that costume. But when he quit, they're like, well, somebody else could be Nomad. And so a would-be Bucky also gets disillusioned and becomes Nomad, except he's a guy who's going to shoot people, I guess.
Two things stand out to me. One is this like holster on his leg that can't possibly accommodate the gun he's
shotgun.
holding.
That gun.
And then two, his arch enemies are all those who would undermine American values.
Yeah, between his arch enemies and his bio, it reads like Trump's website.
Well, it also
What
tells
about
me...
his Captain N belt buckle. Like,
Yeah.
look at that shit.
But see how it
And
ends
it's for
again.
Nomad.
He's easily the most upstanding new hero of 1990. Like there's always some like I don't know. This character sucks.
What a lame-o. Yeah, he really sucks.
And
He upstands more than everybody else.
he's killed in 2004.
But I love pointing it out. Marvel, at least not in their comics or the page of their comics, especially not the big screen, they have introduced no new characters of any kind for 20 years that have latched on.
And well, even Nomad is an inherited character.
Yeah,
Well,
83.
He's a rookie. And he lists his first appearance as 83.
He's already 7 years old.
I mean, those new Warriors were all new. Then again, the only new ones we've seen were the Guardians of the Galaxy, and they all sucked.
They all suck. And there's characters like Spider-Gwen or Kamala Khan like that are great and new, but it's like, will they still be popular in 15 years?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Only time will tell.
Only one more rookie, and boy, it's a doozy.
I love this guy.
It's the Fool Killer.
Fool Killer.
Who has a gun that incinerates.
He should partner with Mr. T.
He
Yeah.
incinerates people. So him and Nomad both read like crazy Punishers.
And he's a rookie,
Yeah.
but Kurt Gerdhart is the third individual to take up
Kurt
the mantle of Fool Killer.
Kurt Gerdhart, the rural juror.
Arch enemies, all fools.
All fools.
I had
man.
never heard of this.
He
guy.
sucks, and he's not even the first Fool Killer. There were
Yeah.
Fool Killers before him and after him.
I
But
gotta say-
all
But
of
look
them.
at his win ratio. Holy crap.
Yeah,
100%. Arch enemy. Oh, fool.
Yeah. Greg
Treat
Salinger.
your mama right.
See, even there, inspired by Greg Salinger, the second Fool Killer. We're not even going to talk about the first, and Fool Killers to come.
His mission is to destroy those people who do not lead a poetic existence.
He's crazy.
Like what a fucking
This makes no
Bob Dylan
sense,
song.
So he's
Wow.
he's crazy, and all the Fool Killers are supposed to be slightly either criminally insane. So I can't tell if they're trying to pass him off as a hero or a villain because it's the 90s and those lines got so blurred. Tweeners, I think we call them.
Yes.
Well, in 1990, there were already like 3 Punisher books, and then they just make more Punishers.
Yep.
Like they just Deathlok, this guy and Nomad are
This
just.
guy's different. He's
Can
a
we just
S&M.
we just gotta give a guy a gun and he'll shoot people. Like let's make that a
Yeah.
comic. This is the response to the grim and gritty stuff of '86 of Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen. This is Marvel still dealing with it 4 years later.
Like, and Daredevil blew up for them,
Yeah.
so they're like, well, we gotta do that stuff. So
He is undoubtedly the most demanding and perhaps most insane new hero of 1990.
Again with the 1990s.
But again, yeah,
stuff.
just going back to that baseball card thing, the win percentages and the rookies, and it's like you don't have to do this.
we're good.
But yeah, so if you look back on these rookie sets, like only Ghost Rider I think attained anything because
Yeah.
there was at least a period of time where like I knew a lot of my friends were all into Ghost Rider. Among those who were into comics, we at least were reading Ghost Rider.
He's a cool
and when they make new toys, they usually do make a Danny Ketch Ghost Rider figure.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a cool character. And his comics, nobody reads them, but he's always been a cool character.
The last Ghost Rider comic I was into was 10 years ago.
Though I'd arguably say at this very moment, Deathlok is the most popular of the rookies because he's actually
on TV.
in live action.
He's on the TV.
Ghost Rider is stuck in limbo.
Yeah.
Or purgatory. Would that be more accurate? For
They're both
Purgatory.
places he could go. He could drive there. But that wraps up the look at the rookies. It's a bit shorter than usual because this section was just a little small. When we come back, though, we're going to have a whole lot of famous battles. Again, with this 1990 card set that introduced most of us to the wider Marvel universe and kind of set us up to be the dork asses we are now. But yeah, we'll be back with more very soon.